This program contains movie spoilers. Viewers are advised to proceed on their own discretion.
Imagine that you take a pill, twist it inside your mouth and swallow it, and then boom, you are granted a supernatural rebirth. You don't know what you get, but you get something awesome, a superpower that lasts for 5 whole minutes before it fades out. Project Power bases its entire premise on this very interesting plot device. The reason I call it very interesting is because concepts like these have been making rounds in meme sites since the Matrix days and its blue and the red pill. But none had seen the light of the day before Project Power. And with actors like Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, all ingredients seem to be set for an awesome action flick. But Project Power hasn't quite made the cut. Welcome to a different kind of review in today's I Like to Movie It. Let's make a top 10 countdown of what went wrong with this possibly impenetrable action flick. At number 10 is the movie's setup. Even without saying it out aloud, every moviegoer, or in this case, Netflix subscriber, should be able to tell who the pivot of the movie is, who the protagonist is. While Gordon-Levitt's Frank Shaver, an NOPD officer, takes full charge of the story, suddenly the weight shifts to Foxx's art character. But threading it all is the promising presence of Dominique Fishback, whose Robin character compelled me to watch the movie, keeping her at the center of it all. The breezy setup did not help the movie. Coming hot at number 9 is the wasted potential of Robin's enthusiasm and caliber to rap. Dominique Fishback justified the character well enough for us to recognize her inclination towards hip-hop. But neither has her upbringing nor has her goals to becoming a rap artist take solid ground. Why did she choose to become a drug dealer instead? Was it just her mother's illness? We just get a hazy picture and that's that. Talking about character motives, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Frank Shaver is an equally underestablished character. If the movie's world was the real world, we would be going to and fro discussing the same topic. Was he a good cop or a bad cop? If he was a good cop, then why did he take the matters of law in his own hand and become a drug abuser himself? If he was a bad cop, then why did he go after the pill pushers to take down the entire operation? Why did he do it all alone? A lot of answers aren't answered when it comes to Frank Shaver. Even though Jamie Foxx's art, or the Major, and his relationship with his daughter Tracy, played by Kiana Simone Simpson, is the main plotline of the movie, it gets the least establishment. Art's attitude has very little sense of urgency and has seemingly not struggled to the degree where his blood would boil. It is later revealed that he carries a rare and immense superpower that comes with consequences, but it leaves you with questions. Did he not love his daughter enough to push himself to use the drug sooner? I mean, he readily gets shot and burned. These things can kill you too. But you can do one and not the other. Why? One issue that really bugs us is, where is the threat? New Orleans seems to go fine and day-to-day activities are still up and running. One more. One issue that really bugs us is, where is the threat? New Orleans seems to go fine and day-to-day activities are still up and running. If people could actually be invisible, have nuclear power, or they are just bulletproof, a lot of media red flags would be up and the city would be in chaos. But apparently, we are watching a movie where these things were okay. Also, we don't get to see this superpower getting international attention. Some South American buyers are interested, maybe, but I couldn't comply or comprehend to this measly portrayed world. That brings us to number 5. Because the threat is bigger, the antagonists are equally weak. We have watched action flicks with an underdog trying to take down entire corporations, and yet they make us believe that the villains were really sinking their teeth in the hero guy. But here we have 3 or maybe even 4 heroes, right, left and top down, but still the entire platoon of villains could not take down even one, and instead the villains fell down like a house of cards. They didn't close in on the protagonist, they didn't strangle the life enough, and they obviously did not risk the existence of our heroes. We could tell that our heroes were winning and winning and winning. At number 4, we have the lack of a proper deuteragonist. Don't get me wrong. Enough elements were spread throughout the movie to pick up at least one B story and go along with it. There was the corrupt captain from NOPD. There were Robin's classmates, and there were drug dealer Newitt's apprentices. who could have either hindered the hero's journey or could have aided it. But not having a parallel story running and conversing to a single plotline made the story flat. Yes, we can argue day in and day out that Art and Frank's story arcs were different. But no, they were headed to a common goal. Like I've already mentioned, they both combined as a whole protagonist. Making them into a single character would actually have been a wiser decision. One of the biggest flaws, a gaping hole in the movie, is the science. A make believe science fiction is a part of today's world, and that make believe relies heavily on actual science. The storytelling is so believable that we almost give in and consider that superhumans do actually exist. There might be a radioactive spider or a multi-billionaire genius. There could be a god's son or maybe someone highly trained in martial arts. But in Project Power, we don't get to understand the source of the power itself. Yes, they do say that the power is derived from the Animal Kingdom and Tracy carries it genetically. But how is it harvested? How do these pills make someone a super being? Why does it react differently to different people? What is the genetic make and model of this pill? Lots of these questions aren't answered. A simple question like why do people twist the capsule before swallowing it? Even that carries no basis. For an action movie, hear this. Project Power does not have enough action. I may be a sucker for melee combats, and this movie does show some awesomely choreographed sequences, but they fall short. I expected a whole lot more. And finally, at number one is the pacing of the film. The lack of imposing threat, weak antagonists, and failure to give fleshed out backstories to protagonists have made the pacing of the film inconsistent. Issues that needed more attention get less screen time, and things that could eat up the ticking time goes out with a fizz. This inconsistency has hugely backfired and taken away a lot of brownie points off from the movie. Project Power hence gets a 3 out of 5 stars. I would recommend you to watch the film strictly if you follow sci-fi and appreciate action flicks. However, both of these genres will leave you a little disappointed. But hey, at least this movie isn't boring. It's Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt after all, and the hip-hop numbers are just too good to miss out. Project Power hence gets a 3 out of 5 stars. I would recommend you to watch the film strictly if you follow sci-fi and appreciate action flicks. However, both of these genres will leave you a little disappointed. But hey, at least this movie isn't boring. It's Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt after all, and the hip-hop numbers are just too good to miss out.